Now, I'm not saying Anthony Albanese is a clueless amateur wandering into the Middle East like a blindfolded tourist on a minefield tour, but, well, actually, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Here he was this morning comparing the Middle East conflict to a football game.
Oh, look, there are people on both sides of this debate who want conflict to continue, who want to think that it's like a football game between, you know, South and the Broncos, and you've got to back in your team and you've got to back them in. What we need is a win-win.
Now, the funny thing about that analogy is that it's no secret to anyone which team Anthony Albanese supports.
Go the Rabbitohs.
But it got worse. Have a listen to our Prime Minister on Sunrise this morning, arguing that his decision to recognise Palestine doesn't constitute a reward for Hamas, not at all.
Hamas will be totally opposed to this decision. Hamas don't support two states. They support one state, in their own words, from the river to the sea, from the Jordan River to the ocean.
From the Jordan River to the ocean? Does Albanese mean the Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean or maybe the Atlantic Ocean? Our Prime Minister is so geographically adrift, he might try to negotiate peace between Finland and the Great Barrier Reef at this point. For all those in the PM's office, it's from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. And we're supposed to believe the PM knows what he's doing. But that's the Albanese government in a nutshell, isn't it? Slogans in 72-point font, endlessly repeated, underpinned by a depth of knowledge you could measure with a spirit level. Having failed to make history with the Voice referendum, voters noticed the gracious and humble request was neither. Albanese now aims for the Middle East, a region he understands with all the authority of a pub quiz guess. It'd be hilarious if it wasn't so dangerous. Albanese knows Hamas rejects two states. He also knows the Palestinians have repeatedly rejected a two-state solution, yet he's determined to give them a state anyway. What does he think they'll do with it? Now, if you answered that they'll likely use it as a staging post from which to claim all the land from the river to the water beyond, well, then you're smarter than our PM, which isn't difficult, so don't get too excited. Albanese might as well hand a flamethrower to an arsonist and tell us he's hoping for better urban planning. But hang on a second. Albanese's own MP, Ed Husic, said just last week that recognising Palestine would end Hamas's grievances. In other words, appease them. Now Albanese says it'll upset them. Labor can't even get their contradictions straight. And if Albanese says that from the river to the sea means wiping Israel off the map, why has his government been perfectly happy for protesters to chant it in Australian streets over the past 2 years? Albanese isn't just out of his depth. He's splashing about in the wrong body of water entirely.